Good morning, everyone. I feel like this has been EMIS month, so we've had a lot of trainings and we have a lot of EMIS Alliance trainings for you. Um, just a reminder, and I know I sent out a message this morning with the Zoom link. Please try to allow that email address. Is it no reply at promoter? Um, that's a safe email, so it's not going into your spam. That's been the biggest problem is that the reminders are going into the spam area. Um, and then we're just working out some glitches. I know some of you have been emailing me with some thoughts, concerns, suggestions, so that's been great. We have a meeting next week to talk more about the new event system that we are using. So please keep those coming. I appreciate you guys being our guinea pigs, working with this and trying to get this in place. But I think it's around June 1st, we're going to be going live. So we'll get more features. We'll have the calendar. We'll have some of those other things that we're missing right now. So that being said, I'm going to turn this over to Tim and a fun-filled EMIS Alliance training.
Shelly, good morning, everybody. Like I said, this is the EMIS Alliance training this morning for tools for troubleshooting data associated with the CTE accountability, and this is concentrating on the concentrator. These PowerPoints and demo files should be on our website. So if you guys were looking and saying, hey, Tim, I can't find it or whatnot, it was posted yesterday on our website or whatnot. So um, just like before, if you guys have any questions or anything like that, feel free to interrupt me. Feel free to say, hey, Tim, shut up. Please explain this or whatnot, or what's going on with this. And I'll be glad to answer it for you. Okay. Um, this presentation is not going to be as long as the one before or whatnot. So I don't want to kind of, get you to a point to where you just zone me out. So like I said, feel free to ask me questions or anything like that as we go through this presentation. So as we move on here, and of course, I have to just let you guys know that all these trainings here through EMIS Alliance are free to your districts at no charge, okay? If you guys have any questions in regards to materials or you guys may feel as though you may miss something, Melissa Hennon, her contact information is loaded there. She is very good, very nice lady. If you have any questions or whatnot pertaining to materials, feel free to ask her at any time. And today we're going to focus on CTE concentrators and accountability system. Now, a lot of these slides here are going to give some helpful tips in terms of what to look for and throughout the course of the year as we're getting to the end of the year reporting, as well as giving you some pointers on how this information can relate to your district's report card. So like I said before, some of these slides are very key to your districts. And just like I said, feel free to ask questions at any time. The CTE Program of Concentration is critical to the CTPD report card, Perkins Performance, State and CTPD, and the Quality Program Reviews. The CTE Accountability System is built upon CTE concentrators, and we will concentrate on correctly reporting the CTE program of concentration during this presentation. So these are the areas that we're going to be focusing on. The pathway for a student to become a CTE concentrator. This is a approved funded program and or program of study. The course completion, CTE participant, and CTE concentrator. Reporting the CTE concentrator programs of concentration. Level 2 reports you can use to identify and troubleshoot the CTE program of concentration for your students. And also, finally, your secure data center reports, which is in the SDC. So the pathways to becoming a CTE concentrator, as you guys will or may be well aware of, a student becomes a CTE concentrator after completing 2 workforce development courses within a single pathway. Okay, this coursework can span upon multiple school years or multiple districts. Okay, so keep those two factors in mind with the coursework that can cover multiple districts or multiple school years. Programs of study, and I know in the past there's been some questions or emphasis on this particular issue. This includes at least 4 courses within the career field pathway. It includes all aspects of the industry identified career technical content standards for the chosen courses. This also includes the opportunity for students to earn post-secondary credit in the technical area. Includes the opportunity for students to earn relevant credentials of value as appropriate for the technical area. Integrate academic content as appropriate for the course. Integrate career technical student organizations to the extent possible. Integrate work-based experience to the extent possible. And finally, access the attainment of technical skills within the program using the appropriate technical assessments identified in the program and assessment matrix. So, all the emphasis with CTE in the program of study, these are all the factors that they're looking for as pertaining to CTE and concentrators there. Okay. Any questions so far? No? Okay. Course completion. State approved and funded career technical education course. Okay, these are basically the elements they're looking for as regards to course completion. Curriculum elements, as guys will be aware, these are all going to be elements pertaining to um, the courses and how you guys have everything set up. Okay, so you guys have your VT, VP, VN, and PS, including job training programs. Excludes family and consumer sciences, your FCS, career-based intervention, of course, we all know CBI, and senior-only credential programs. A minimum of 120 hours, 2 60-hour courses as equivalent to 1 course, counts across districts and years. And this can be delivered to students in grades 7 through 12, which we kind of touched base a little bit on the previous training. I know that there were some schools that offered CTE programs or, excuse me, courses in middle school. And we also found out that you can receive funding in most cases for middle schools who are offering CTE courses. So we touched base a little bit on that with the last training that we had. And this does not include your VM curriculum course codes. Okay, so these are all the factors here for upon course completions that the state looks for as it's going to determine basically what qualifies as a career tech course. Okay. To consider a student as having completed a course, and this is just a continuation of course completion requirements here, they must have been enrolled for at least 90% of the scheduled instructional hours in a state-approved career technical education workforce development course and has earned high school credit, and this could be partial or full. Okay. Students must generate CTE funding for the approved CTE course. And when determining if a student met the scheduled hours requirement, you guys have to keep in mind that it is based on student enrollment, not attendance. Okay. So that's the main factor. I know sometimes I'll get tickets or whatnot where this is in question. And this is, like I said before, in determining the scheduled hours requirement, they base that on the student's enrollment. Okay. And down below, they kind of give you an example here of how that is determined. Okay, which is the enrolled hours the student has. Okay, and that divides that by the scheduled course hours, which the student is taking there. Okay, so that determines the percentage for those kids. In the case where a student did not meet the 90% scheduled hours requirement, however, receive partial or full credit, they are automatically considered as completing the course. Okay, so down below, they give you some examples here. Okay, which is your high school credit earned, which is the GN 150. Okay, code there. You would receive a Y, N, or P. Okay, And then a partial override credit, which is your Gen 152. And I know there's not an I in between the G and the N. I just been saying Gen for years. So I apologize if you guys are saying, why is Tim saying that? And that is basically from the ranges of 0, of course, to 9.99. Okay. These districts can only enter information into the partial override credit element if they report a P in the high school credit earned element. So a lot of you guys are aware that districts can only report this information here for partial override credit if they report a P in the high school credit earned element. So as you guys are winding down to the end of the year, it is imperative that, and I know you guys have been on top of it, just making sure that you can check your information there, just your data, just from time to time. You guys have time. It's only the month of April, but it's good to get a jump start on just basically kind of just reviewing your information so you guys won't have to be so strapped with having to handle everything at the last minute. Okay. I've had instances in the past with CTE data where, something can kind of slip through the cracks and it is a mess trying to get everything cleaned up in the summer. So, like I said, it's imperative that you guys kind of just get a jump start on all this information here, which will be good in just reviewing, getting with your curriculum departments as well, just to kind of make sure your information is matching up with what is being reported. So you guys can save you some stress and trouble as we move forward towards the summer. Any questions so far on any of this material that we covered? Okay. So for CTE participants, secondary students who meet course completion for not fewer than one course in a approved career technical education program or program of study in the current year, and there's two factors here. Use the current year participant students as a tracking tool. This year participants could be next year concentrators. Okay, so keep that in mind. Also, all current year concentrators are also considered participants. Okay. So you want to keep that in mind as it pertains to CTE participants. All current year concentrators are considered participants, and also the current year participant students as a tracking tool. This year's participants could be next year's concentrators. Sometimes we kind of get lost in the sauce or whatnot in terms of what kind of qualifies as a CTE participant. So this slide here would be a pretty good reference to use as we move forward, just kind of letting you know what ODE is looking for as it pertains to this particular program that you guys may implement in your districts. Okay. For CT concentrators, secondary students who complete at least 2 courses in a single approved career technical education program or program of study. Okay. Course-based and not student cohorts. Keep that in mind. Students are concentrators before they complete a program. Students can be concentrators before ninth grade. And like I said before, we kind of touched base on that a little bit as far as what was being offered with students in the earlier grades, 7th and 8th grade. More than one entity can report a student as a concentrator. Okay. So, like I said before, also keep that in mind that sometimes I know on reports, especially on level 2 reports, sometimes people say, hey, it's saying I don't see this student here or whatever the case may be on my report. Sometimes that could be where maybe another district is reporting that student as well. So you just want to make, kind of collab with other districts. I know sometimes with students, they're kind of in between. Um, More than one entity, whether it be districts, they could be taking a class up here or taking a class down there. This is more or less just, like I said, just a basically getting the communication out, just so both districts and both entities can be aware of where the student is and basically how they can go about and reporting them. Okay. Thank you, Shelley, for that. I was just going to say that. Thanks. So, the program of concentration. Okay, so this is another slide that you guys can use as a great reference here. Entities that have approved CTE programs or programs of study will initially report the program of concentration the year the student meets the original requirement. More specifically, to be reported as a CTE concentrator within a year after meeting the program of concentration, the student must complete a workforce development course aligned to their previous pathway. Okay. So, like I said, keep in mind these factors here basically go into who reports the program of concentration. Okay. And like I said, this is a great slide to use if you guys may, like I said, get stuck and say, hey, what's going on in terms of who reports what? These are some pretty helpful tools to use. Okay. So for transfer students, okay, transfer students who have completed an approved CTE course in the past school years, the student completes the second course at the new district in the same program of study and meets the course completion requirement. The new district reports the program of concentration. So keep that in mind. The new district is responsible for reporting this actual student here. Okay. Transfer students who have been reported as a concentrator at the previous school district, if the student continues taking courses in the aligned previous pathway at the new district reports the program of concentration. So what this slide is basically letting everyone know is that the new district is basically going to be responsible. Okay. So regardless if the student transfers and become, or excuse me, transfer student has completed an approved CTE course in previous years, that new district is going to be responsible for reporting the program of concentration. Okay. And this is just something that you guys may be aware of, but this is just a review for most. Okay. For some who are kind of on the fence, this kind of gives a good breakdown of who is going to be responsible for for reporting the program of concentration there.
And
Any
Tim,
questions pertaining? Yes, go
oh,
ahead.
Shelley put in the chat the CTE matrix, so they have examples. I added that to your resources on the website this morning too. So that way, people know about those examples.
Okay, that's great. Appreciate that. And like I said, that's a good tool to use as well. If you guys were looking for, like I said, Rebecca said, any examples that you guys can kind of go off of that kind of give you guys some assistance, that's a great tool to use. And like I said, a lot of these slides that we'll be going over are good tools to use as well. If you guys, like I said, get stuck or say, hey, what's going on with this or whatnot, or the case may be, you guys have some good references to go off of. So thank you, Rebecca. Appreciate that. So next we'll talk about when it's not basically imperative to report the program of concentration. If a student has been reported as a CTE concentrator in the past school year, but does not take a CTE course in the current school year, then the district would not report the POC, the program of concentration. Okay, so keep that in mind. Districts do not duplicate reporting of entities, or excuse me, of other entities. Program of concentration for the student goes as follows. Does not match what the JVSD is reporting in their data, and does not match what was historically reported. Okay, so basically what you guys want to focus on as we're talking about this here and what not to report on a POC, okay, basically, the top one really is important. Okay, so if a student has been reported as a CT concentrator in the past year, but is not taking a CT course basically currently, then you're not responsible basically for reporting the POC. Okay, and I want to kind of emphasize that because I know sometimes that question comes up in the summer or whatnot. So, like I said before, if they've been reported in the past, but are not taking something currently, a CT course currently, then, like I said before, the district would not be responsible in reporting that POC. Okay. And I just wanted to emphasize that basically for all the districts here today. So, in summarizing the first part of this actual presentation here, do you understand the pathway a student must take to be reported with a program of concentration? What is the difference between a CTE participant and a CTE concentrator? And do you know when your district should or should not report the POC? All those topics we basically just discussed. Like I said before, if you guys have any questions or whatnot, or just saying, hey, I'm kind of stuck or, this particular issue, like I said, Rebecca has said, the matrix is available to you guys for you guys to have a good reference point to use, as well as these actual slides to use as well. Any questions before we move on here?
There's nothing in the chat, Tim.
So for CTE Concentrator reports, okay, help districts track students who have taken a CTE workforce development, okay, which would be a WFD course, or had a CTE program of concentration reported. Traditional districts, JVSDs, community schools, and STEM schools could receive these level 2 reports. When reviewing the reports, if the district believes the generated potential CTE POCs are not correct, the student's course enrollment and earned credit data should be reviewed. Okay. The opportunity to appeal the POCs is in the year the student is a concentrator. The data cannot be appealed in the graduate or follow-up collections. Now, that last part is very, very key because I get a lot of questions all the time about whether or not districts can appeal the data or whatnot that was entered in for POCs. And just like I said before, now's a good time since there's a lot of downtime or whatnot in the EMIS world. Basically, it's a lot of cleaning up and just kind of getting the loose ends tied up. But the point of emphasis that I know when I was in training is that they're just letting all the districts know that basically the POCs in the year the student is a concentrator, they're letting every district know that there is no appeals for that. Okay, so you guys want to make sure that you guys get a good jump on your data in terms of getting everything reviewed because they will not be doing appeals if anything that you guys may feel is wrong. There's no way we can have that fixed once the windows are closed. Okay. So they just wanted to put an emphasis on that for you guys there this year. You should be able to go on and you can go on our website and just download the PowerPoint there, and the slides should be available to you for printing at any time. So the CTE Concentrator Accountability, and this is for all FY pointed concentrators here. This here is going to kind of go over all the reports here, which are generated, okay? And this kind of just gives you guys just basically kind of examples or descriptions of each report, okay? And like you guys are well aware, these reports are located in the data collector here. So matter of fact, I can kind of give you guys a glimpse of where to go. Give me 1 second here. But I want to kind of show you where all of these reports are located so you guys can have a pretty good idea where to go for those who may not know. Second, guys. My screen here. This is here going to be located, and this is under the staff, the L collection here. For the staff course final collection here, and I'm just throwing this up as an example here so everyone can kind of see where these reports are and where they're located here. A lot of these reports with your CTE detail report, the student error, your CTE course error, basically detail report, all these collections here are pretty much going to be very useful to you guys as you guys are kind of navigating through your actual reports. Is anybody having any issues with basically accessing these reports? Anybody in the chat or whatnot? I want to know just because we've had a couple of districts where they weren't able to access some of these reports. So if by possible, can I just get a show of if everyone is getting their reports on your L collection? Just in the chat, if you guys aren't asleep.
Brenda, Anita, Lori, Amanda, Trisha, Vicky, they all said yes. Veronica. So I think we're good there. Does anybody
So
not have access? Let's go that route.
yeah.
And I'm not seeing anything, so that's a good thing.
Okay, good. Okay. I just wanted to kind of point that out. Sorry if I stopped everything, Shelly, just because of the fact that I know that some districts were having issues. Okay. So moving on, the CTAC, this is the 101 area report here. This report provides a comprehensive list of CTE concentrators in the district. Okay, so basically it has a couple of result codes here. Your CN, oh my God, I said a Z. CN 0009. This is a result code where the current year program of concentration is for this student. Okay, so anytime you see this actual result code, this is just letting you know what current year program of the concentration is for that student. CN 0010. This is a prior year program of concentration for a student who has not yet left public K to 12 schools. Okay, so basically, look at this report as more as an informational report for you guys. It's just letting you guys be aware what result codes are in terms of for current year 09, 010 is just your prior year. Okay. A student is listed only once in the districts where they last met the definition of a CTE concentrator, and only the last fiscal year in CTE POC in which the student was a CTE concentrator are generated in the report. Okay, so like I said, this report is more of a comprehensive report for you guys. 09 current year, 010 prior year. It was funny when I was getting training for this years ago. I keep saying the 09 and 010, and I don't want to come across as like elementary school teacher, but that's the way I learned for current and prior year. So if I sound like I'm reading a nursery rhyme book, I apologize for that, but that's just how they taught it to me. So sorry about that, guys.
Tim, we do have a question.
Yes,
Um, they always show in the screen as critical errors, but when I open it, they're all informational. Is that a bug?
that
And
is a bug. And just to kind of let you guys be aware that in the CTE programming, ODE has been working from what they're telling us, or what they told me, has been working throughout the year to kind of get a lot of information pretty much, our data fixed. Right now, people are receiving critical errors for things that they should not be receiving critical errors for. That was a big point of emphasis last summer as the year was winding down and closing for closing collections. So if you were receiving criticals or whatnot, and then when you go into the actual um, collection or report and you're seeing informational, we've been told when we put in tickets with ODE that that's just to ignore the error. That's just informational right now. We're working this out. So apparently they've been working on this for a while. I don't know why, it's still coming up, but for right now, we've been told to let districts know that that's just informational for you guys.
okay,
Cool.
another comment in the
Yes.
chat. When
Yes.
looking at my reports, my CTAC 101 and 102 are showing it as last update 220.
Correct. Now, and that's another issue that they're working on right now. Um, I talked to a couple people up at OD, matter of fact, a couple weeks back about that. And it's not just about CTE. It's been a couple of collections that they basically haven't been updating in a while. And like I said before, that's something that they said that they're going to be kind of working on, and you'll be seeing those updates more frequently next month in May. So let's cross our fingers for that. Okay. But that's what I was told to look out for as we move forward, especially with the collections closing in the summer.
And then Veronica says hers is 3525.
Yeah, so they're pretty sporadic. So a lot of times, like I said before, with the data collector and how they're processing their data right now, from what we've been told to let districts know, anytime that information were to come available, or you guys are being observant of that, just let it be aware that they are working on getting all information and everything updated for next month. from what we've been told. So like I said, cross our fingers. They also told us about the whole flip file and all the other good stuff, and when it's going to be up, and when, it's not, and it is, it's not, it is. So right now, I'm kind of like on a wait and see approach with this, just to kind of see where it goes. But that's just the information that we've got from the state so far.
And then two, they are showing current dates, April dates. So that's fine, correct?
Right, correct, correct. So, like I said, in terms of their information, though, being updated, in terms of, the information that they're submitting, they're, like I said before, they said look to next month to kind of see all that information. First, so for example, if you guys have some data that you guys need to be submitted, basically, hey, I submitted on Wednesday, on Thursday, it should be reflecting. I know a lot of you guys or whatnot, for those who frequently submit, sometimes it's just not catching up with what you guys are submitting. So apparently, like I said, and Shelly, you can make a note of this in chat, that they are working to get that kind of resolved for next month as we move towards the summer.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. So for your next report here, your CTAC 102 report, this report provides a list of students where the district is not reporting a CTE program of concentration that has been derived by DO, formerly ODE. So the result codes in this actual report would be your CN0002. This is your point of concentration derived, but no POC reported in current FY, basically your current school year. Any CTE program of concentration that aligns with an workforce-based course completed in the current year will have a row on the report. So districts should review the potential CTE program of concentration on the report and report the appropriate CTE program of concentration on the FN record. For any of you districts in here, have any of you guys been having any issues with this 102 report here? Just curious here. Anybody? Anything in the chat there, Shelly?
Nope, just to know mine are okay.
Okay,
Yep,
great.
so
Okay,
everybody
great.
seems to be okay.
Great. For your CTAC 103 report, okay, and just kind of giving the description of all these reports just to kind of give a basics here. This report lists students when the reported program of concentration does not align with a program of concentration derived by DO. Districts need to review the program of concentration along with the student's course enrollment and earn credit data. Some districts report students as concentrators before the student meets the course completion requirement of their second course. Now, keep in mind, these students will be flagged on the report due to the timing of reporting. Now, if you guys were to submit your data, and let's say, for example, you guys have some students that are flagged there, I would kind of keep that on the back burner for right now, because a lot of times or whatnot, like I said before, when you guys are submitting your data and some of the information is not processed, that does not mean that it's a bad thing on your end. Sometimes ODE is trying to catch up. I know, like I said before, they're looking to work on that to get this kind of resolved by next month. But like I said before, just keep in mind with the students that are flagged, it is basically hinged on the timing of reporting. Okay. So if any of you guys, have you guys had any issues with your students being flagged currently? I think everyone should be up to date, but I'm just curious in terms of any districts having any issues.
Mary made a comment. She put hers was last updated on February 9th.
Okay. Okay. So, um, and Mary, what you can do is just we'll talk after this or whatnot, but that's kind of that's actually kind of far back. Okay. So I'll just keep that in mind as we move forward. Shelly, just take a note of that. She said February 9th.
Yes.
Okay, wow. Okay.
She said she has a ticket with you already.
Okay, good. Okay.
And Trisha's is February 9th as
Yeah, that's pretty
well.
far. Okay.
And she says she has a few criticals.
Okay. Okay. Now, Trisha, for you, when you go into your actual report, is it informational there, or is it still having your criticals there? Did she say
She's
anything?
she said she has a few criticals, but that was the original
Okay,
comment.
okay, okay,
There
okay,
are criticals for the 003 and the 004.
okay, got you. Okay. This here on the, and I'll address that with Trisha here after here. Um, for your CTAC, and this is your 103 result codes, as a lot of you districts are aware, these are the result codes here that they have, okay, which we kind of went over here. Your 01, okay, this is your POC reported, but not derived in the current fiscal year. Your 03, which is your POC reported, but not aligned, course completed, derived in current fiscal year. And then your 04, which is your POC reported, but there are less than 2 completed courses in the POC. Okay. A lot of you guys, some of you guys probably come up with the 03 and 04. Okay. And this here will just, like I said before, you have your point of concentrators reported, but no aligned completed course. And then 04, there would be less than 2 completed courses in the POC. Now, if you guys have a situation where you're saying, hey, I have a situation here where I did report the POC, but the classes may not be completed until the end of the year. Sometimes when the year is over, that 04 result code will go away because sometimes the student's in the process of completing the course. I've had situations where the 03 will come up or whatnot, and then end of the year it's gone. So, like I said, sometimes it can be fickle, especially with CTE. Okay. I've had situations where the 04 will show up at the end of the year and it was never there during the year. So, like I said, if any of you guys come across that and and you're just curious, just let me know. Has anybody had any issues with, I know Trisha said she had the CN0004. Has anybody else had that come up on their actual report here recently? Just curious, because I know it's just fickle during the year.
Well, it might not be very recent if everybody's is like February 9th for their last updated.
Right. And see, that's another thing too. So because their reporting is delayed, it's kind of hard to get a kind of a jump on that. Anything in the chat there? I saw the chat was going. Okay.
Lori said she does not have the CTAC 102 or the 103 reports, and Brenda said she doesn't either.
Okay. So pretty much you just have just basically just your informational reports, Brenda and Lori.
Tim, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I have other reports. I just don't have those two.
Okay, cool. Okay. So that's pretty good. So you just have more just information. Okay. Okay. That's not a bad thing. That's actually pretty good. Brenda, are you the same way?
Brenda's the same.
Okay, cool. Okay, great. Okay. Well, that's good. Okay. Now, a lot of you may not receive this report here, but this is just informational to have. This is the CTAC, and this is the 200 course report here. This report lists courses that factor into concentrator status, okay? You have these result codes here. Your CN 2000, this is your course counts towards concentrator status. CN 2001, course does not count towards concentrator status. Result code 2002, your student has reported CT technical assessments, but no reported online courses. And this would just be, a matter of you guys getting with or huddling up with your curriculum department there to ensure that you guys have everything in place with the students there. This report aids districts in determining which courses are impacting concentrator status and provides the detail needed to research why a student is on the missing or unexpected reports. Now, Lori, do you have this 200 report showing up for you? Just curious here.
Oh, definitely, because I do have the courses in the building. They're all informational, but I do have that.
Okay, great. Okay. Okay. And Brenda, I'm pretty sure all the districts probably have this or whatnot. And like I said, sometimes last year it was funny. Some districts weren't even getting this report. So it's kind of good that they're at least on top of generating this report for you guys. So that's pretty good. Okay. So, just to do a quick check here, a quick check summary here. Have you shared these reports with your CTE coordinator? Anytime that you guys get these reports is very, very important, or just whenever you guys get a chance to just share this with what you have or what you're reporting with your CTE coordinators, just so they kind of can be aware of, like I said, where you guys stand as a district. If there's anything that needs to be corrected, you guys can hold together to say, hey, let's work on this, or let's get this reported correctly. And like I said, with the month of April, this is pretty much a down month, March and April. Okay, so I know May it kicks up pretty good, but at least for this remaining of the month, you guys have some time to kind of get this information fixed and coordinated there. If a student appears on a report where due is deriving the program of concentration, what do you do? Okay, so you want to go ahead and ask yourself in terms of in this particular situation, you have, like I said, your CT coordinator, you have your curriculum department as well that you guys can collab with in order to kind of get a lot of these problems resolved. And are you reporting students with a program of concentration when you should not? And like I said, that's a matter of accessing your reports and reviewing them just to kind of make sure you guys have a pretty good gauge and pretty good jump on what's going on with your actual data. Shelly, I want to stop here and get a break because we're halfway through. This is kind of a short one, but just kind of give everybody a chance to gather themselves up for this final stretch. There's not a lot left or whatnot. So want to kind of go over here. This is the little stretch run here. If you guys have any questions or whatnot, like I said, please let me know. But what we're going to do is here, we're going to touch base on the SDC data and reports here. Okay. Now, I advise all of you guys, if you guys, and I'm pretty sure you guys do have access to the SDC, which is your secure data center. This is a good tool to use in terms of basically kind of navigating through this is your district data to access your career and technical education section here. Okay. Staffs with SDC access roles at the CTPD IRN would be able to see your actual reports, which is basically giving you a snapshot here. So when you log into your SDC, one of the options you should be able to basically click on is your career and technical education. Staff with roles at the member district with a CTE program would see member district reports. So I'm pretty sure all of you guys, Amanda, I don't know if do you have access to your SDC right now currently?
Said yes.
Okay, great, great. So you should be able to have access to this report as well. If a user has both roles, your CTPD and your member district, they will choose which organization to view, okay, and what they want to view. So this is very imperative, like I said before, and we'll touch base on this with the report card training or whatnot that's coming up later on here shortly, that on how to access these reports here, which is pretty simple if you have SDC access here. Here they kind of give a snapshot and review of what you basically can review in terms of when you are clicking on the career and technical education section here. It gives a wide range of options that you can review. Okay. So you have your 4-year longitudinal graduation rate, 5-year, your career and post-secondary readiness, post-program outcomes, current year concentrators. All this information is going to come from what you're reporting, okay, through the data collector. All right. Now, I'm pretty sure that these reports will be available to you guys. They should be available to you guys roughly in June. You should start seeing it. We get a report usually or email from OD letting us know, hey, this is when the reports are going to be coming out. So you guys can kind of get a jump on what's being reported through your district. Okay. And you do have throughout the summer, I believe, to mid-July in terms of getting some of this information in. I know for certain areas, it is mid-July. For others, it's later on in the summer. So I just wanted to kind of let you guys be aware of that. Okay. But this is a good snapshot of what you'll see in the SDC.
Amanda is saying she does not see those options.
Oh, wow. Okay. So Amanda, get with me after this because I need to make sure that you have the proper access set up so you can see all that stuff
Yeah,
there.
it might still be with Becky.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. I figured that. Okay, that's
Honestly,
fine.
I thought our districts control access to the SDC. But it's one of us?
No, so the superintendent and or area coordinator, whoever is responsible for OEDs or whatnot, would basically give her access.
Got it.
So, and that's something that we'll go over too, with the report card training, because that's assigned to, you know, the superintendent's principals or whoever is in charge of certain curriculum departments that would give them, you know, access. Like I'm pretty sure Nita, Brenda, and Trish, all them, you know, it's just who's assigned them to what.
But like I said, it probably never got switched over from Becky to Amanda. So
Right. Right. So that's a simple fix, and we'll work on that there for her. So for your SDC data reports, and this is your member district view, okay? This is what you're going to be able to access when you guys are basically accessing your SDC for your career and technical education, okay? Anytime that you're seeing this here or whatnot, like I said, all this information is coming from what you guys have reported, okay? So this is nothing new that ODE has generated for, you know, and saying, hey, we made up some information for your district here. Take a look at it. No, all this information here is derived from what you guys report throughout the course of the year. Okay. And this is what they're saying. This is what we got from your reporting. Okay. Now you guys are well aware that anytime that there's anything or something going on with your, you know, particular data, you do have time throughout the course of the, you know, the summer or a little bit of time to go ahead and get that information fixed and resolved. Okay. So I just wanted to kind of let you guys be aware of that. Sometimes I know we go into a panic when we see something. We're like, wait a minute, this is not what I reported. What is going on with this? No issues. It's just, like I said, all this information is being taken from what you're reporting. Okay. So this here gives you basically a glimpse of what the differences are. Okay. So whenever you're logging on to your SDC, you're going to see a couple things here. Okay. You're going to see your CTPD view, which is your current year participants. Okay. And then you're going to see your member district view, which is your current year participants from the members district perspective. Okay. So this is your current year participants at the member district level, and then your CTPD, which is your current year participants. Okay. So you should be able to have both of these options here for current year participants. Has anybody not had these options here on in their SDC in the past? Any issues with that?
Trisha does not have the CTPD option, but she said she'll check her permissions with OEDs.
Okay, cool. Anybody else or whatnot?
I'm not seeing any other comments.
With this actual report, you can refer back to slide 10 or whatnot in terms of giving you guys a more thorough breakdown. Also, check with, like I said, Trisha, when you brought that up, to see what type of access, you know what I mean, that you have or whatnot. So we can kind of get that because you should be able to have both of those there. So current year participants, and this is just more of a demographic overview. This is the actual report that you should be able to view from a CTPD view in the secure data center. This gives you a breakdown, of course, of your subgroups, which would be all females, males, different races, whether English learners, homeless students, all that good stuff. That's broken up in a subgroup. Okay. You'll see your enrollment there. Of course, your choose the school year, which would be the current school year. This is from last year, of course. You'll see the 23-24, but you will see 24-25. And then this will give you a bar graph to basically let you know what uh, current year participants you have by subgroup. Okay. And it gives you the breakdown down below. So this is what you will see in your SDC once you get access and have access to this report. Okay. And for your members, pretty much the same. It kind of gives you a breakdown of the actual demographics here, and this is for your member district view. So basically, for each view is kind of giving you a glimpse and screenshot of what you'll see from a member district view, and then also from the previous slide here, which is your CTPD view. Is there a question in the chat there, Shelley?
No, Veronica just made a comment. She does not have the CTPD option either.
Okay, okay. So that would be a matter of Veronica going to, now I don't know how much access they would give you guys, you know what I mean? But in terms of, it shouldn't be a problem to get, you know, that access for you guys in terms of just going to whomever, so you can kind of, you know, get that access as well. I think this is good access to have. Did she hear me? Is she good?
What does CTPD stand for?
So that's going to be, so basically for that there, that's going to be the career tech, the actual department. So it's two parts. One department gets access, and then they just give you guys kind of like a view only access, right? So it kind of goes where your access is kind of limited, which I kind of feel EMIS coordinators should get both. So you should be able to see in detail, because sometimes with the CTPD, they get a little bit more extensive reports than you guys do. Does anyone have that actual access here in the room before I even move on? Or is it just district views for you guys?
Is it fair to say CTPD stands for Career Technical Planning District?
Yes.
Okay. I Googled it, so that's why I'm
No, you're
double
fine.
checking.
No, you're fine. But the thing is with member district views for EMIS coordinators, I hate that because I feel like they should have both. You know what I mean? Because their reports are a little bit more thorough than what you see on the member district. So that's why I was just asking if by any chance that anyone had access to both.
Anita does.
Okay, okay. And Anita, is that pretty thorough with you in terms of, you know, you'll see more on the CTPD side as opposed to the member district side?
Said it is combined data. If we
Yeah,
just
see,
want to see our data, we have to choose district view.
right. Okay. So like I said before, I just feel like having both is, you know, is a cool essential to have. But like I said, member district view is just as good if you're just saying, hey, I just want to review what I have. I'm not trying to get into any specifics. I just want to see if the information is right. You know what I mean? So you can't go wrong with either or. Okay. And that's something that I'll touch base on, but based on a little bit more in the report card training as well. But this kind of just gives you just a little bit of a review on what you'll see with your SDC data here. It's just basically just giving you SSID details, which is basically just where you can basically preview all districts there, which you can see up top there. Okay, you got your current school year. Okay, choose an SSID. All right. So basically, you can go through the districts there and just kind of navigate through SSIDs and the districts there to determine or whatnot, you know, their demographics, if they're economically disadvantaged, English learners, students with disability. Okay. It's no different than you using a macro for Excel. It's just that with SDC, it's kind of a little bit more basic than that. Okay. This is the CTPD view, which is kind of giving you an overall view of everyone here. Okay. And then for your actual member district view, it's just giving you who all is in your district there. Okay. So basically in the breakdown, of course, they redacted the SSID and district, but there you will see the SSID, your district name there, your demographics for gender and race, economic disadvantage, and so on. Question in the chat there?
Anita just made a comment. She's thinking only just the JVSDs have the CTPD view.
I was thinking that too, but
Yeah.
I was wondering too, does the CT like coordinators, or if you guys have someone in your district, I thought that they had access as well. So if you're saying that they need it, I mean that makes sense. But I was assuming that the CT coordinators, I know down here in Cincinnati, they do have access to that. So, and I've seen EMIS coordinators with that. But if you're telling me that, I mean, then
Well, and
that's
it
good
might
to know.
be if only if they have like the CTE program within their
I got you.
district,
Okay.
and some of ours do not have it. And
I
then
got you.
Rebecca did
Okay.
make a comment. Just a reminder that we at the ITC level do not see CTE data in the SDC. So just
Correct.
remember that as you guys are putting in tickets and so forth. There is a way that we can get view access through you guys, but I know at this point in time, Rebecca and I don't have any. So
Right. Okay. Thank you, Shelley. Appreciate that. And this is just basically just reports that they're going over that you guys can access in the SDC. This is your current year participants. Okay. This is your additional reports that you guys would be able to view. Okay. And Anita, for you, this would apply to you since you have that access there for your CTPD view. Okay. It's no different than the member district as well. Okay. In terms of CTPD view, you're viewing basically all the districts as opposed to the member, you're just reviewing yours. Okay. But this kind of gives you a bar graph in terms of what the trend is for your students there in the district down below. As you see there, the district names would be located there for your current year participants there. And then up at the top, you'll see your detail report there, which is kind of giving you a breakdown of, of course, your demographics there. So like I said, these are all slides that when you guys access your information, this is what you'll be able to see when you access it here. As you can see with the member district view, you just have your trends there, and then you have your actual member district demographics up top. Okay. The difference between these reports is that, Anita, you're probably are well aware of this. In the previous one, you got your SSIDs and the district names that you can view, okay, for multiple districts. Down below, you just have your district for the member view, okay? So your district, your demographics for your district, and then your current trends for your district. That's the only difference between these two reports here. So for current year concentrators, same thing. You would just go ahead and tap on your career technical education, and then you can click on your current year concentrators for Anita. That would be use CTPD view. Member district view would be your actual, just your district. Okay. And as we move forward here with the slides, as you can see, you would see here with demographics as well. And this is just kind of giving you a breakdown of, like I said, male, female, what ethnicity they have, all that good stuff there. Your homeless students, kind of give you a bar graph and breakdown. Anita, you probably can see all your districts there. Okay. For your member, it's just going to give you a breakdown of your district. Okay. Just basically letting you know your percentages, what you guys have in terms of your total there for all students. Okay. So for example, you'll see the total there, all students 91, total percentage, and just kind of gives you a breakdown there. Okay. And this is for your individual district only. So for like the Lori's, the Brendas, all the other good stuff there, lovely ladies there. Your member district view, Veronica, that would be basically what you're seeing just for your district, not for everybody, around the region. Was there a question in the chat there, Shelley?
no, I just put a comment to Vicky to see if has the CTPD view as
Okay.
well, since she's a
Okay,
career
cool.
center.
Okay, cool. So for the CTPD view, of course, you'll see the actual current year concentrators, the SSIDs for all students there, and the districts from which those students are in. Of course, you'll see a blank square because those are where the SSIDs and districts will be. Down below, you'll see what actual pathway they're in, the gender, and it kind of just gives a breakdown there or whatnot of each student there. Okay. So for Anita, does Vicky have it there, Shelley?
She does not.
That is strange because she should.
Yeah, but Vicky is newer. She's not
Okay.
new, but
Okay.
newer. So maybe that's just something we have to look at to see if that's access that she can have since she is a JVSD. Maybe just was never given to her.
Okay, cool. Because I'm gonna say she should have that there. So okay. So that's good to know. So like I said, here is pretty much just a kind of a thorough breakdown there for your SSID detail. And then for the members here, what you'll see here is basically all the students there pertaining to just your district. Okay. So like I said, the CTPD is mainly everybody within the region there. Like Anita has basically services that she offers to multiple districts. For the actual, like the Lori's, the Brendas, the Trishas or whatnot, you'll just see your own district only. Okay. So this is just a breakdown of what you'll see on the member district in terms of what you guys have there. Here, like I said before, the only difference is here is that with district names for the CTPD view, which Anita has, you'll be able to see multiple districts, okay, and see the current year concentrators there for each year. You also have the trending there, or the trending group, which is a screenshot down below with the bar graph. You'll be able to sit there and see the school district or each school district as pertaining to the member district, where they'll only be able to see your current year concentrators, the previous years, and just the trends. So with Anita, she has access to different districts. With you guys, you just have access to yours. Okay. That's the only difference there. I do, like I said, down here, we do have in Cincinnati where there are EMIS coordinators that do have access to the CTPD, but like Shelly said, it's probably offered within those schools there. So that's pretty much kind of the difference there. So to review, did you find out what type of CT access you have in the SDC? Were you able to pull a spreadsheet of your participants and concentrators? And have you shared the SDC reports with your CTE data team? Okay, so once the SDC reports come out, now in the summer, I know you guys kind of break apart because you got summer vacations. It's the summer and people are just like, yay, let me get out of here. Um, but it's like I said, it's very important, especially in the month of May, while everyone's kind of wrapping up, to kind of catch everybody to see if whether or not, your data pretty much matches up with what they're reporting or what they have. You just don't know how many times, especially before those windows close, that, information can kind of, not get to certain people. And then it's just a lot of stress as we move towards the closing of collection. So it's very imperative that everyone kind of huddle up now while it's slow, so we can kind of get the information on point and all the information, presented so that everyone's on the same page. And like I said, with the SDC, that should be opening up in June, pretty much, when you guys are getting all your data in. Okay. Any questions pertaining to report card data? None.
My SSID detail report does not have the program column like the example.
And who was that?
That was from Trisha.
Oh, it does not. Okay, so I'm wondering if that's because now, can you see everything else for the current year, Trisha?
She thinks so.
Because I can look at their member districts, so I can look at that and see. Maybe I can see something, what's going on with her trends there. So Trisha, I'll give you a call later on today. We'll go over that because I want to take a look at your reports. So here are some good, basically informational tools that you guys could use to get in touch with the people that you need to for career tech. So for example, we went over last EMIS Lines training, the OD Career Tech office. These are their actual contacts through email. Through email is the best way to get a hold of them. I do know that they have more people in their departments that can kind of, get you guys some help faster as opposed to in the past. So that's a pretty good thing there. You have your actual career technical education data and accountability, the CTE matrix, which is what Rebecca so nicely pointed out before. That is posted on our website as well if you want to use that tool there. Okay to use. And also the accountability webpage, which is up top, which kind of gives you some resources and what to look out for as well. There is a guidebook that is posted on the website there for OD's website there, which kind of gives you a guide in terms of accountability, what to look out for career tech education data there. And then you have the actual status of reports there, which is kind of going to give you the link there down below. Some helpful hints in terms of how to basically navigate through the status of reports there. And if you have any questions, and Trish, I'm gonna go over your report here shortly. You can contact us. I have access to the SDC for your districts as well. So if you have any questions, just let me know about that. And do you guys have any questions? Like I said, for you veterans in here, you guys are pretty much well aware. Probably wasn't nothing new that you guys didn't already know. But for a couple of people who are still relatively new in the game, this is kind of a good resource for you guys to have. Is there any questions that you guys have here?
And Tricia said it was her pathway column, not the program column. So you still have to look at that with her.
Okay, okay, I will. Any other questions from you lovely ladies here? Okay. Next meeting time, I believe, is our coffee time. Is that Shelley?
I believe you are correct. I was just pulling up my calendar.
No, you're
Great minds
good.
think alike.
Now, I have two things that I wanted to share with you guys, and I'm gonna make sure because the CCP report, I thought I was going to be done with that, but it's so much information that is included in that it's just like a never-ending book with that. I wanted to get that out to you guys before coffee time and just kind of let you guys have that as a good reference and tool to use. I think that'll be good for you guys to have moving forward, so you guys can be aware of what actually goes in the CCP reporting, what to look for, and how to report certain student data there. So my apologies, ladies. It's just so much data that I'm putting in there. And it's kind of hard to put it in a PowerPoint because it's just like so much. So I'm trying to word everything and get all that, taken care of, as well as doing the EMIS updates monthly. So I promise I will get that out to you guys as soon as I get that done. It's just so much.
So coffee time is set for April 29th. And then the EMIS connection for special ed is on April 30th. And just a reminder, I did change the start time of that for some of you that are going over to the ESC for their, I forget what it was, annual something or other. So it's from 8 to 10 versus 9 to 11. So those are our upcoming events.